Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to Kimchi Recaps. In today's video, we will be recapping the South Korean thriller named Old Boy, where we'll follow the story of a man who was locked up in a private illegal jail for a crime he isn't aware of doing. So, without any further delay, let's start with this recap. The movie opens with Soo getting arrested by the police on the night of his daughter's birthday for drinking too much and causing public disturbance. At the police station, he continues his unruly behavior, showing off the angel wings he bought for his daughter and causing further chaos. Thankfully, his longtime friend, Ju Hwan, arrives to bail him out. While Ju Hwan is in a phone booth talking to Soo's family, Soo gets kidnapped by unidentified people. When Soo wakes up, he finds himself locked in some kind of a prison where he gets food through a little hatch at the bottom of the door to his locked room. Soo repeatedly asks why he's being imprisoned and what he did wrong to anger anyone. But he never gets the answer, and he has to spend his time being locked up without knowing the reason behind it. He does get food on time, but it's always the same fried dumplings. Anytime he feels suicidal, or when his captors require access to the room for whatever reason, he is gassed into oblivion. His only contact with the outside world is through a television in his prison room, from which he learns one day that his wife has been killed, which has pushed his daughter to foster care. Moreover, Soo is shocked to learn that he's the one being accused of his wife's murder. This shocking revelation, combined with his captivity, causes Soo to become rogue, and he tries to take his own life. However, his captors don't even let him die and medicate him back to life. With death not being his option, Soo starts listing down everyone whom he could have wronged in the past, but is unable to figure out who would imprison him like this. After 5 years of imprisonment, he starts to tattoo lines on his arm for every year he's imprisoned and practices combat through shadowboxing and punching the walls. He hides an extra metal chopstick that he finds during one of his delivery of fried dumplings and uses it to carefully bore a hole into the wall of his prison. More years go by, and Soo has started to work out, and he watches current affairs on TV and loosens enough bricks to get a glimpse of the outside world over the following 10 years. He calculates that it will take him an additional month to dig a hole big enough for him to escape. However, before he could do that, he gets gassed, after which a woman enters his room and hypnotizes him. He wakes up to unfamiliar surroundings and realizes that he's been set free on the rooftop of a building, along with some clothes and his prison diaries. For the first time in 15 years, Soo sees sunlight and is finally free. There he sees another man sitting on the edge of the building with his small dog. It turns out that the man is about to jump off and take his life, but Soo saves him and sits him down to narrate his life story. When the suicidal man wants to tell his side of the story, Soo ignores him and walks away. As he walks out of that building, he catches a glimpse of the suicidal man landing on a car behind him, taking his own life. Wandering the streets, Soo doesn't know where to go next since his enemies have framed him for his wife's assassination. Out of nowhere, a group of thugs pick up a fight with him, but he beats them effortlessly thanks to his years of combat practice. Next, a homeless man hands him a wallet full of cash and a cell phone. With the money he has on him, he stops at a sushi restaurant where he recognizes a worker, Mi-do, from a cooking show he used to watch in his captivity. Just then, Soo's captor contacts him through the phone and confesses to kidnapping him and imprisoning him for 15 years. He taunts Soo to come and find him if he wants to know the reason for his imprisonment. Before leaving, he eats up an entire raw squid and falls sick, prompting Mi-do to take him to her apartment for treatment. Having not been in contact with a woman for over 15 years, Soo can't control himself and tries to force himself onto her. However, Mi-do cleverly handles the situation and saves herself. She later confesses that she brought him to her house because she liked him and would sleep with him when she's ready. Over the next few days, Mi-do conducts her search and finds out that Soo's daughter was adopted by a couple in Sweden. Soo decides not to contact her until he gets to catch and kill his captor. Soo then remembers the restaurant name Blue Dragon, from where he was fed fried dumplings every day during his time in the prison. With some help from Mi-do, Soo visits every Blue Dragon franchise to match the taste and possibly track down the place where he was locked up. After failing to find the exact taste of the fried dumplings he ate in the last 15 years, Soo and Mi-do head back home. At home, Soo finds Mi-do chatting to a stranger online, who asks him, "How's life in a bigger prison?" Soo immediately recognizes him as his captor and leaves Mi-do's place saying he can't trust her anymore. Soon after that, Dae-soo finally finds the Blue Dragon restaurant with the exact same dumplings he was fed in his captivity. By tracking the delivery person of the restaurant, Dae-soo reaches the place where he was imprisoned for 15 years. With a rock hammer in his hands, Dae-soo barges in and beats up the guard before making his way to the manager of this prison. He then pulls out 15 teeth from the manager's mouth in exchange for the 15 years he rotted there. Out of pain, the manager, Mr. Park, leads him to some tapes that reveal that their facility is a private prison for clients who want their enemies locked away. Dae-soo then finds out that his captor had signed a 15-year deal with them. After finding out the truth, Dae-soo steps outside to see that his way out of the prison isn't that easy, as he's blocked by the prison guards. Putting years of training to use, Dae-soo courageously fights against the guards. Despite getting stabbed in the back, Dae-soo still finds a way to beat all the guards and walks out of the prison building. Having suffered multiple injuries, Dae-soo is about to pass out on the road. Thankfully, a stranger helps him by getting him into a taxi. The man sends the taxi off to Mi-do's home address before revealing that he is Dae-soo's captor. Despite seeing the person who got him imprisoned for 15 years, Dae-soo is unable to retaliate in a vulnerable state. After getting to Mi-do's place, he spends all night listening to tapes he got from Mr. Park, where he finds out that the reason he was kidnapped and locked up was that he talked too much. The following day, Dae-soo visits his old friend Ju Hwan, who helps him by creating an online chat account and getting him in contact with Mi-do's online chat friend, Evergreen. Upon chatting, Evergreen congratulates Dae-soo on the dismissal of his wife's murder case. Dae-soo then returns home and tries to force more information out of Mi-do, who keeps telling him that she has nothing to do with it. Just then, Ju Hwan calls to inform him that he has found Evergreen's user ID and address. He rushes there and finally meets his captor, Woo-jin, and his bodyguard, Mr. Han. Woo-jin can easily get Dae-soo killed, but he refuses to harm him in order to play a game with him. The rules of the game are simple. Dae-soo has to find the reason why Woo-jin hates him and had him captive for 15 years, all within 5 days. If Dae-soo fails to find the answers, Woo-jin threatens to kill Mi-do. Hearing this, he runs back to Mi-do's place, only to discover that Mr. Park and his thugs have physically abused Mi-do. Just when Mr. Park is about to take his revenge on Dae-soo, he gets a call from Woo-jin telling him not to harm Dae-soo, along with a briefcase full of money. Mr. Park takes the offer and leaves the apartment. Soon after that, Mi-do and Dae-soo decide to go far away from Woo-jin's reach and spend the night at a hotel, where Mi-do expresses that she's ready to sleep with him. Mi-do and Dae-soo spend the night making love, unaware that Woo-jin is still watching over them. The following morning, they receive a package from Woo-jin with Mr. Park's severed hand. Dae-soo then recalls when he said he wanted to cut Mr. Park's hands for assaulting Mi-do. Dae-soo realizes that they've been bugged and Woo-jin is tracking their every movement. So, they visit a shop and discover a wire under Dae-soo's shoe, which they get removed immediately. Dae-soo then discovers that Woo-jin was once a fellow student at his old high school. He calls Ju Hwan, who confirms the finding and also sheds light on the incident of Woo-jin's sister taking her own life for having a bad reputation in school. After losing contact with Dae-soo, Woo-jin pays a visit to Ju Hwan and beats him to death while having Dae-soo hear everything on the phone. Dae-soo suspects his imprisonment is related to Woo-jin's sister's suicide. Hence, he seeks help from Mr. Park, who agrees to hold Mi-do in Dae-soo's old prison facility for her safety. Dae-soo then meets up with another classmate who shares rumors about Woo-jin's sister's dirty life of hookups and affairs. Dae-soo then recalls a moment from his past where he encountered his classmate getting physical with a guy. Dae-soo finally remembers that the girl and boy he saw that day were Woo-jin and his sister, committing an act of incest. Dae-soo recalls how he told one of his friends about the incident before leaving the town and changing schools. But what he didn't know was that the rumor spread like wildfire, and Woo-jin's sister ended up having a reputation at school. Dae-soo finally realizes the solution to the first clue he received from the captor in the beginning, which said, "A grain of sand and a rock both sink in water with the same speed." This means that a casual remark and an outright accusation may both have the same devastating consequences for a person, so Woo-jin holds Dae-soo responsible for his sister's death. Dae-soo finally finds out where Woo-jin lives and confronts him with all of this information. Dae-soo accuses Woo-jin of having his memory about the incident wiped out through hypnosis, so he could torture him into finding out the truth by himself. However, Woo Jin maintains that Dae-soo had forgotten the recollection on his own because he believed it to be unimportant. Nonetheless, Woo Jin says that Dae-soo's little slip of the tongue grew out of proportion to the point where it was rumored that Woo Jin's sister had become pregnant. Out of the fear of getting more humiliated, Woo Jin's sister committed suicide. However, Dae-soo suggests that Woo Jin killed his own sister because he was terrified of becoming a father to her child. Moreover, he accuses Woo Jin for attempting to place the blame on him in order to deal with his guilt. He also brings the picture Woo Jin took with his sister, confirming that he was present when his sister supposedly committed suicide by jumping off a dam. But Woo Jin then dismisses these allegations with an even more devastating revelation. He gives Dae-soo a photo album, the first picture of which is a family portrait of Dae-soo, his wife, and his daughter. The remaining photos in the album are of his daughter growing older. As Dae-soo sees more and more pictures of his daughter growing up, he's met with horror. Dae-soo discovers that his daughter is none other than Mi-do. Simultaneously, Mi-do discovers angel's wings in a purse that Dae-soo had purchased for her birthday 15 years ago. On the other hand, Woo Jin reveals that he used hypnosis to get both Dae-soo and Mi-do fall for each other. The sole reason why he had Dae-soo locked up for 15 years was to have him and his daughter separated. He knowingly had them meet one another, after which the hypnosis was triggered and they ended up committing incest. The same thing that Woo Jin and his sister were ridiculed for in the past. After hearing this horrifying truth, Dae-soo tries to attack Woo Jin but is stopped by Mr. Han. Despite being mortally wounded, Mr. Han keeps Dae-soo subdued until Woo Jin surprisingly shoots his own bodyguard to death. Dae-soo then learns that Mr. Park is still working for Woo Jin, having been granted the ownership of the entire prison in exchange for cutting off his hand. Mr. Park is with Mi-do and is ordered to give a similar album to her at Woo Jin's command. Horrified, Dae-soo pleads with Woo Jin to stop this from happening. Then, in an attempt to ensure that he never talks too much again, he goes down on his hands and knees and begins to bark like a dog. During all this, Woo Ji laughs with smugness and struggles hard to hide. Eventually, Dae-soo even cuts off his own tongue to make Woo Jin happy and stop him from revealing the horrendous truth to his daughter Mi-do. Seeing Dae-soo in such a tortuous situation, Woo Jin's thirst for vengeance is finally over. Woo Jin spares Mi-do from knowing the truth before telling Dae-soo that he has no purpose left to live. Woo Jin leaves Dae-soo alone and gets on an elevator where he recalls the moment when he couldn't stop his sister from committing suicide. After getting his revenge, Woo Jin has nothing left to do and shoots himself to death. In an epilogue set in a wintry landscape, Dae-soo goes to a hypnotist, the same one who was hired by Woo Jin to hypnotize both Dae-soo and Mi-do, and asks for her help. Since he is unable to speak, he writes her a letter. Dae-soo asks her to hypnotize him so that he can forget the truth about himself and Mi-do. The hypnotist says that she originally did not want to help him, but she was touched by his last sentence, which said, "Even though I'm no more than a beast, don't I too have the right to live?" The hypnotist tells Dae-soo to imagine himself back at Woo Jin's penthouse. She uses hypnosis to split Dae-soo into two personalities: the beast, who remembers the secret, and the ignorant Dae-soo, who doesn't know. When the hypnotist asks Dae-soo to split into two people, a reflection of himself appears in the window. The hypnotist tells him that the monster will walk away, and for every step he takes, he will age a year and die when he reaches 70. The reflection is of the beast, who holds a grim expression and remains unmoved, unwilling to leave his place in Dae-soo's mind. The ignorant Dae-soo, reflected in the glass, mourns the loss of a major part of his life. After the hypnosis is complete, the hypnotist wishes Dae-soo best of luck, and the screen turns black. Dae-soo wakes up, the hypnotist has already gone, and he is left lying on the cold ground with a delirious feeling. He stumbles about, and finally, with some hesitation, he meets up with Mi-do, and they embrace. The soft-spoken Mi-do tells Dae-soo that she loves him, and a large smile appears on his face, which slowly disintegrates into a tortured grimace. And that's the end of the movie. What do you think about the shocking twist that the movie led us to? Do you think Dae-soo has completely forgotten about the truth? Or did the sad look at the end of the movie meant that he wasn't completely hypnotized? Join the discussion in the comments section and share your theories. For more gripping recaps, subscribe to Kimchi Recaps and hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.